Shana Tova. Moshe locked himself out of his car on a hot day. As many of us did before electronic clickers, he managed to find a wire coat hanger, and he returned to open the lock of the car. And this is a skill that older people probably remember. As he wiggled the wire through the slightly open window, his wife Sadie began to tell him what to do. Moshe, move it more to the right. No, to the left, higher, lower. Finally, Sadie said, "What's taking you so long, Moshe?" "Sadie, it's easy for you to say because you're sitting inside the car." Where is Sadie? Sadie is in her place, yet disconnected from what is happening around her. Many of us today are in our places, yet strangely not so. Students in university, yet not able to fully enjoy being on campus. Children in school, yet in a classroom capsule. People at work, meetings from their dining room table. A couple exercising, running up and down the stairs of their apartment building. Grandparents at home, with grandchildren limited to being outside the house. There are older folk on their balconies wondering when all this will end. Where is our place? Where do we really belong? Our tradition teaches that makom, place, is important. When I was in university and later doing research in the great libraries of the West, I had my regular place. I would arrange my material, and the setting put me at ease, enabled me to move into my studies. A familiar space may give us comfort, link us to memories, enable us to sit with acquaintances, friends, and family. I know where the seagulls sit, as well as the Tannenbaums, the Abellas, the Libmans, the Greenspans, the Hermans, the chefs, the Gangbars, and many others. Although you are in your place, in your home, some of you can actually see me much better now on the screen than from your usual seat in shul. But you are not in your regular places, in shul. The Talmud in Masechet Brachot teaches that we should pray in a synagogue in a makom kavua, a usual spot, attributing this to Avraham, who was associated with establishing the morning prayer. In Genesis we read, "And Avraham got up early in the morning." That is for prayer. And the end of the verse teaches us not only about his prayer, but also about makom kavua, to the place where he had stood before the eternal. When we're in mourning, we're instructed to actually move from that set spot, that makom kavua, to experience in another way our profound loss, a sense of displacement. In a synagogue, if the mourner moves, she may in turn disrupt another person's space, who may subsequently disturb another's space. In this way, when we grieve, our pain ripples through our community. Death puts us in a different place. For the first time in recent memory, the vast majority of Jews will not be in their makom kavua for Yom Tov. Although we are not displacing others, we are grieving. We so much want to be in synagogue, to celebrate, to reflect together on the year past, to ask for blessings for the year to come. There is a wellspring of wisdom in our tradition that can help us to navigate our spiritual displacement. So let me reflect a bit on the concept of makom that might lead us to a new place to celebrate and sanctify the new year. But first, a reminder. Usually, I ask you to keep your cell phones off in shul. Today, Please don't drink your coffee or nosh leftovers while I'm speaking. Try to put yourself in a sacred space, a makom kadosh. In Genesis, encounters between the divine and the human are often identified by a place name and by the term makom. Avraham proceeded by stages from the Negev as far as Beit El, and in that makom place, Avram invoked the Eternal by name. After the revelation at Sinai, the people of Israel are instructed to build an earthen altar and are told, B'chol hamakom asher azkir et shemi avo elecha uveirachticha. In every makom place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. But a competing tradition, focusing on one place, slowly began to gain significance. It begins in the Torah reading of Rosh Hashanah, when Avram set out with Yitzchak for the place that God had told him, Vayelech el hamakom asher amar lo ha'Elohim. And on the third day of the journey, Avram sees that makom place from afar, Vayaret hamakom merachok. He comes to that makom place and is prepared to bind Yitzchak on the altar. But as we know, a divine messenger intervenes, and a ram suddenly seen replaced the beloved son. Avraham then names that makom, that place, Shem hamakom hahu Adonai yireh, for that was where God saw Avraham's commitment. The significance of one makom grows. It becomes identified with where Yaakov encountered the makom, vayifga b'makom, where he placed stones under his head for sleep, where he dreamed of a ladder that bridged the gap between heaven and earth. And when he awoke, Yaakov said, Achen, yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh, va'anochi lo yadati. Truly, the Eternal was in this makom, and I didn't know. How awesome is this makom? Manorah hamakom hazeh. This is the gate of heaven. During the wandering in the wilderness, the Mishkan, the tent, traveled with the people. Yet as they prepared to enter the land, they were told to restrict their worship to one place. Ki im el hamakom asher yivchar Adonai Elohechem. Only that makom will become the place of pilgrimage. Go only to that place that the eternal God will choose for you. Avraham's makom, about which we read on Rosh Hashanah, becomes the sacred site for the ritual which will be at the center of Yom Kippur. But 2,500 years ago, in 586 before the Common Era, our people faced the loss of the temple, exile from Judea. They were dislocated, dispirited, disheartened, dismayed. And because ancient people associated divinity with territory, because worship had been centralized in that holy place, the Mikdash in Jerusalem, they imagined that all was lost. 2,500 years ago, by the waters of Babylon, the people sat and wept as they thought of Zion. Ech nashir et shir Adonai al admat nechar. How can we sing a song for the Lord on alien soil? And three great prophets, 2nd Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel, held out hope to the exiles. Their theological revolution was that God is everywhere, not limited to a place. The sovereignty of the divine extended to all creation and all people. They all spoke about a return to Yerushalayim. But Ezekiel added something else. He believed that God's presence, that God's place was everywhere, and he spoke about religious life in that foreign soil. Thus says the eternal God, I have placed the Jewish people far among the nations and scattered them among the countries. Ve'hi sham lemikdash ma'at ba'aratzot asher ba'u sham. But I shall be for them a small sanctuary in the countries where they have gone. There, near the Tigris and Euphrates, the small sanctuary was born. Ezekiel said, Yechezkel taught that what truly matters is not lost. You haven't lost everything. You have lost a place, but you have another place. The synagogue was born out of crisis and displacement. After the second temple was destroyed, our sages began to refer to the Holy One as Makom, the one whose place is everywhere. And we welcome mourners on Friday night, or take leave from a Shiva home when we say, HaMakom Yenachem, may the one whose place is everywhere be with you in your sorrow, to bring you comfort and consolation. We have lost so much. We so much want to be with family and friends. We so much want to be in our shul place together, singing the prayers and opening our hearts. But that is not possible. In the midst of this coronavirus, we are called to construct a mikdash ma'at, to make our homes into that sacred space, to remember what we still have, to be grateful for what remains, and to create a facsimile of the synagogue in our homes. In many synagogues above the Holy Ark, you may have seen these words, Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid. I set the Eternal before me at all times. One of my friends said, now we need to place those words in our kitchens, in our dens, our living rooms, to make our makom into a holy place. Well before the coronavirus, in the late 1800s, Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch wrote these chilling words. If I had the power, I would provisionally close all synagogues for 100 years. Do not tremble at the thought of it, Jewish heart. What would happen? Jews without synagogues, desiring to remain such, would be forced to concentrate on a Jewish life and a Jewish home. Jewish officials connected with the synagogue would have to look to the only opportunity now open to them, to teach young and old how to live a Jewish life and build a Jewish home. Beth Tzedek is still here to help, assist, and support you. We offer you prayer and study, soul brew and support groups, Hebrew school and Havdalah, Kiddush club, story time, family programs, counseling. You can draw upon our strength to add spiritual strength to your lives. We will assist you to turn your kitchen or den, your living room or bedroom, into a sacred makom. You see, Rabbi Hirsch was onto something. For too long, the synagogue did replace the home in its centrality to Jewish life. Synagogues are ideal places for Jewish gatherings, communal prayer, life cycle celebrations. But the home is the makom for the most profound influences any of us will ever know. So take Torah from the Ark and put it into your living rooms and your offices. Without a synagogue to attend, many of us are already doing that. Friday night Kabbalat Shabbat is live streamed onto big screens. Families sit together, pray together on their sofas. There's been a boom of Zoom learning on our digital devices. We can turn our current displacement into a new makom for family and personal growth. And during these days, we also offer you the opportunity as an individual or a family to schedule time to come to the sanctuary, to stand alone or with others before the Aron Kodesh, to be in this makom, to offer your personal prayers of hope, for well-being, of gratitude. And we will be in the streets and the parks of Toronto, along with other synagogues, to sound shofar on Sunday afternoon, the second day of Rosh Hashanah. We will bring this mitzvah to you. The sounds of what my teacher called a prayer without words will echo throughout Toronto and hopefully enter your souls. A Hasidic rabbi was once asked, "Where is God?" And he responded, "Wherever you let the divine in." So as you sit in your homes, as you look at this screen, remember the words of Yaakov, our ancestor, "Achen, yesh Adonai b'makom hazeh, va'anochi lo yadati." Truly, the Eternal was in this makom place, and I didn't know. How awesome is this makom? Ma norah hamakom hazeh. Here, in your place, this is the gate to heaven. Shana Tova. Let us all hope to be blessed with a year of good health, a year of well-being, a year of chesed and of hope.